Birds, runts, and jawbreakers seemed insubstantial. Their sugars melted in our mouths and left nothing but stains on our tongues. It was then that Tan spoke of the perils of eating meat. Our faces turned red as we listened, and some of us put our hands on our stomachs. Tan's lesson on meat ended just when we finished all the candies. He was quiet again, picking at the ground for shiny pebbles. We were both agitated and emboldened by our sugar rush and could not endure the silence for very long. We demanded that Tan tell us our fortunes. Once again, Tan told us that he was no fortune teller. He said, however, that he knew something of our paths, which for us was something more elusive. He knew how our ancestors died. Some of us didn't believe him. Well then, who wants to go first, he said. We all looked at each other and no one raised their hand. Tan looked at each of us, then uncrossed his legs and stood up. You aren't at all curious, he said. When we still didn't answer, he turned his back to us as if he were going to leave. We clapped our hands so that he would stay. We told him that we would hear a story. He sat down and crossed his legs again. All he needed from us was a little piece of information. Our names or our parents' names. Maybe the city or village where they came from. He squinted at us, as if trying to see the resemblance between us and the facts he conjured in his mind. He finished his first story about one little girl's grandmother whom she never met, and then waited to let the little girl wipe away her tears before moving on to the next story. Despite the tears, none of us were ready to leave, and so he started on another story, and another. Those who understood Vietnamese translated for those who did not. We heard of someone who was shot by friendly fire from the Hak Pao Army Company. Then of someone who fell off a cliff in the wet jungle while carrying artillery because he wore rubber sandals without traction. One of us had the blood of a poet in his veins who died in prison starving himself because the communists had confiscated his sheaf of love poems, unsure if they were harmless odes to his wife or to counter-revolutionary ideals. We nodded with understanding. Sometimes our parents took our poems or drawings or comics away. When it got dark, we knew we would be scolded at home. We gathered our belongings and made our way back to Ninth Street. Afterwards, we tried to verify these stories with our parents, but surreptitiously, without giving Tan away as a source. Most of our parents dismissed them in some vague way that only made us more suspicious. They weren't interested in hearing all this old news and told us to exercise some discipline over our imaginations. And they were too busy working double shifts, making us dinner, or scratching lottery tickets to replace these stories with their own. Thank you. No, you have more
Thank you, Phil. Probably in another year or so, you're going to see the actual book, and then you can talk to him, get it signed, and he'll be invited, of course, to LiterASIAN, just to make sure that we give him the proper views. But anyways, I want to talk a little bit more about the Emerging Writer Award. This year, which is going to end in June of 2017, is poetry. So we're looking for poetry manuscripts, and the key thing about it is that if you win, we're going to guarantee that you'll be published. So, I mean, there's not much a better deal than that when you can submit and you actually have an opportunity to actually get something published. So, in 2018, June is the deadline for fiction. So that'll give you 2 years to polish up a manuscript. And my suggestion is to try to polish it. If you just try to put together a manuscript and it's your first draft, you're not going to win. So get a chance to get a workshop, get a chance to get some editing done on it, and get it to a form that you feel is ready for publishing. Because that's the ones that are going to win. So anyways, 2017 poetry, 2018 June will be fiction, and then we'll alternate again. So anyways, that's the Emerging Writers Award, and let people know. Anybody that has never published before, previously published before, qualifies. Okay?
Okay, thanks, Jim. And just a reminder that the first poetry to receive the ACWW Emerging Writers Award was Rita Wong. The winner was Monkey Puzzle. She went on to be nominated for the BC Book Prize, Dorothy Livesey Poetry Prize. Unfortunately, she lost to Fred Waugh. But Fred is amazing, and I think this is the quality of Asian Canadian writing, that we recognize Fred as one of our pioneer writers. He's been past parliamentary poet laureate. Incredible stuff. So I think, Jim, for ACWW, we're going to have some writing workshops for poetry as well. If you'd like to join me tomorrow night, Tuesday night, I'm going to be at the Hastings Public Library.
Who are doing blogging and social commentary about how we need more diversity in front and behind cameras. And one of our keynote speakers is William Yu, who is the New York media strategist who started the Starring John Cho campaign. I don't know if you know any of have seen it. People have seen it. He's going to come and talk about why he felt the need to put John Cho in movie posters like James Bond, in 21, in The Martian, because there should be Asian leading actors. It's been 20 years since I started this festival, and it feels like I started it yesterday sometimes with how much or how little progress we've made. So come to A. We've got 3 great summit speaker sessions happening. One is on comic books and graphic novel writers. We're bringing them in. We have DC. There's a lot of people that are excited because we've got some DC comic illustrators who've done X-Men, the Hulk, and if you know, there's a Chinese or an Asian Superman now, as well as an Asian Hulk. So for those people who didn't know that. Also, we are starting two contests, one for casting and one for writers. So if you're a writer and you have a screenplay idea, come to our website and submit your log lines, because we're going to make it into a poster and promote it to producers, Hollywood studios, anybody who makes films. So I'm going to hand these out, and I know I took too much time. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Todd.
Excellent. Barb is great. I really enjoyed attending Vancouver Asian Film Festival over the years. But part of it is we need to get these stories out. Screenwriters are important. Oscars are not so black and white, right? They're full of color, diversity. And how do you get some of these stories? Well, Cinda Yeastings is here, and she's got an incredible story. It's a love story. I just met her the other day after the Joy Kagawa reading, right? And it is so heartfelt. She's going to be our featured reader right now. And so I'd like you to put down your chopsticks and your cell phones. And please, Cinda Yeastings.
Thank you.
She's local born. Okay, extra points.
Hello everyone. You guys hear me okay? Oh, hello everyone. I just want to say thank you to LiterASIAN and Ricepaper, Jim Wong Chu, and Alan Cho for giving me this amazing opportunity. I've learned so much, and the last few days of LiterASIAN has been like Christmas times 1,000. It's just been unbelievable to have met all these wonderful authors and amazing people. I'm truly, truly lucky, and I really appreciate it. So I published my book, or I had it self-published earlier this year in January, and I've been asking people a question. And the question is, if you were in the dating market and you met someone and you're instantly attracted to them, and not necessarily just physically, but you liked what came out of their mouth, you liked how they spoke, you liked how they thought, and then you met them, and then they told you they would probably have less than a year to live, would you get involved romantically? It's a very thought-provoking question. And after people answer me, I tell them I did. I met Michael on an online dating website in 2007, and he was stage 4 terminal cancer. And he was the love of my life. I had been married before, so I had some experiences, and I was in my mid-40s at the time. And I'm forever grateful that I took the chance. I knew when I first spoke to him that if I didn't meet him, I would regret it for the rest of my life. So here's an excerpt from my book. Plenty of Fish website. Michael wrote, I'm new to this site. I would love to find the woman I've been looking for all my life, my best friend and lover. I'm a second-generation Canadian with lots of British Columbia family history. You are a non-smoker, honest, sincere, warm and caring with very insignificant issues. I spend my time cherishing every minute of my life, appreciating its challenges, and try to live it to the max, as we only have one crack at it. Cinda wrote, "My life is happy, but I'm at the point where I'm wanting to find someone special to share it with. I know who I am and what I want. I'm emotionally and financially stable. I'm looking for a like-minded person, someone who wants to make a difference in life, someone who wants to be healthy and fit or is striving to be. We all have to start somewhere. I don't play head games. Life is too short for that. I want someone who is honest, has integrity, is sincere, and most of all, down to earth." For Michael loves Cinda. Life that is a constantly changing process. Some days I wake up feeling pretty good, and others, the thought hits me as soon as I wake up. My Michael is gone. He's dead and there's nothing I can do to change the situation. I can't bring him back. There is no rewind on life. I feel the overwhelming urge to throw up, give up, and just lie there in a heap of tears. I know I can't, as they say, life does go on, and mine has continued to do so in this past year. I've had to make myself go on. Losing. What a silly expression, as I didn't misplace him, but he is no longer physically here on this earth with me. Him has been the hardest thing I've ever dealt with in my life, yet it has also been the most life-changing experience ever. To this day, I would never trade my time with Michael for a safe, comfortable life. At times, he told me how I saved his life, but in reality, he saved mine. Something was always missing before I met him, and he filled that void. The intensity of the pain of living without him continues to lessen over time, and the joy of having been so very loved replaces that space more and more as time goes on. You won't get flowery prose from me. Life is tough, and this whole experience has rocked my world, good and bad. Some days it's hell, but other days I laugh a little harder, smile a bit brighter, and I know that I'm going to be okay. They say that grieving has its peaks and valleys. Special dates and holidays trigger memories, as do rituals, songs, places, and anything in life that you shared together. I'm the crazy Asian lady walking around the grocery store, trying not to burst into tears as I pick up a green onion, because I remember how Michael wouldn't buy green onions unless he could get the same discount for buying one, and he would only get when he bought two. After finding, loving, and being loved by Michael, I really do now believe my life was planned out from the very beginning. Please let me share with you the story of the love of my life, Michael. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Cinda. And part of it, in sharing Cinda's story, is that probably maybe 20 years ago, publishers might not have picked it up because it wasn't your typical Asian, historical, great Asian Canadian type novel. I don't know. But Denise Chong's looking at me saying, wondering what I'm going to say next. But part of it is, how do you get inspired to write these things? And I remember seeing Denise's picture many years ago on bus billboards for Saturday Night Magazine, because that was the first time I think they were picking up Asian Canadian stories about my concubine's